We talked a little bit about the dry counties and everything, but I think it's a real question. Should prostitution be legal? Is
I
it?
absolutely think it should.
The Fred Minnick Show is brought to you by Michter's and 291 Colorado Whiskey.
And joining the Fred Minnick Show is Ethan Trace. How you doing, sir?
Good to be here, Fred.
Now you're
I'm
a
doing
bourbon.
pretty well.
You're a bourbon lover. I love this. When did you get into bourbon?
Well, my dad had always been quite the connoisseur himself, and after I turned 21, the first drink I ever had legally was Tom Collins, and because I went to college parties and people mostly drank beer, but I'm like, okay, yeah, everybody drinks beer, but there's got to be more to life than beer, and so started with like gin, and then I'd ask my dad, hey, what's something that you personally enjoy? And he's like, okay, something I personally enjoy, but your mother doesn't like the smell of, so I never really touch it, is like Jack, Ancient Age, and Jim Beam. So I try them for myself. Now, like if you're a kid when you see your parents having a drink and you're like, oh, can I try? And they're like, oh, okay. And then you're just like, But as an adult, when I tried it, it was pretty good.
And you got the affection for it, and you work in listen, for those who haven't joined TikTok yet, and you're kind of a celebrity. You're not kind of a celebrity. You are like a god on TikTok, and for doing like your own thing and not necessarily following trends. And it's like the what you drink is like so much a part of a personality. And I want to go through some of your impressions, and you have a wide level of impressions that you do with various characters. What character that you impersonate on TikTok or wherever is a bourbon drinker?
Oh, well, I would say Captain Jack Sparrow, but he's definitely rum. But I'd definitely say Matthew McConaughey's pretty right on up there.
Well, he.
All right.
So he actually has a bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Turkey Long Branch.
Yeah.
I actually tried it. It was pretty good.
Right on. So I sent you some good stuff today. I sent you some Frey Ranch. This is coming out of this is a small distillery in Nevada. I sent you something that does not exist yet, and the brand is called Success, and it's from like a wholesale broker. And so he actually asked me not to share it with anybody, but I very rarely listen to people when they tell me something. So I thought you would.
Well, you picked a good thing to test it on. Sure.
I've tasted it. It's excellent. I sent you a 4-Gate. This is a beautiful rye whiskey finished in a new oak. And then I think the star of the party for you is the Michter's 10-year-old.
Yes.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to taste all these with you. Now we met in a virtual world called Deggy World for a college conference, and I emceed a panel called How to Become an Influencer. And one of the things that we talked about in that session was that there's a lot of misinterpretation and misnomers about what an influencer is. And a lot of people think you don't actually put any work into it, but that's not true. You put a whole heck of a lot of work in everything that you do.
Absolutely. Which was ironic that we met at the through the panel and the virtual world talking to college kids, because it was actually my freshman year of college, right when the social media app that doesn't exist anymore called Vine came out. Mm-hmm. And that's about the time that I started becoming try to become an influencer, but I was also trying to get my degree. And I later learned what I had more of a passion for. And so I dropped out of college my freshman year, and realized that music is a big part of my life. I actually originally was a music performance major because I was a tuba player. So I was pretty much studying like all the courses that music teachers and performers for symphonies take, like music theory, small ensemble, and all that. But I later realized at the end of the day, with how much I was putting into Vine and trying to do stuff on YouTube, that my passion truly lies in the entertainment field. So I took a year off, worked a minimum wage job in the kitchen, and then re-enrolled in another college and started learning. Got my degree in film at Chattahoochee Tech, which is located in Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. And I realized I could take my knowledge for that and put it into being an influencer and take it even further than what a lot of people think. A lot of people think that it's they're like, oh my God, people are just making videos with their phone. And it's like, if you knew how much the people who actually take this like seriously as a job, like you said, do off screen, off the phone, it would blow your mind. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, if they're an influencer, they're probably making bank, you know, like they're verified. They got like 1 million or 2 million followers. So they're probably making like thousands of dollars, when the harsh truth to that is it's not. That only really happens to the top 100 or so influencers on TikTok, which names like Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, all those people, they're making like 6 figures. But a lot of us, to us, social media, being an influencer is no different than how other people work a job. Like whether it's working at a restaurant as a waiter or working a 32K a year job. At the end of the day, that sometimes we can do very well, sometimes not so much, but that is like how we support ourselves. We pay rent, pay for our groceries, and allow to support ourselves whilst we continue to make content for people. And like we're on the, like right here is my home office. Every morning I get up, I check my email. I'm emailing companies about brand deals and possible collaborations, messaging my friends who live either nearby or live across the country, and just brainstorming ideas for content to do. We're keeping our eyes on TikTok's analytics like 24/7. Like just recently, TikTok's algorithm was not doing that well, and all of our posts were doing not so good. And so we're like, hold on. Now we know if we have a good idea, we're not going to waste it when the algorithm is bad. So we're going to be like testing out the waters, and we're like, anybody else is doing good yet? Or like, we're constantly, I'm in 5 group chats with like a probably combined total of 100+ creators. And we are messaging each other back and forth insights, possible collaboration ideas, and just keeping each other informed like pretty much all day.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's amazing. You kind of broke down my head's exploding here with like the algorithm, because we are just following whatever the algorithm gives us, you know, and that's got to be a little frustrating for you at times when you feel like you got something that crushes, but you know, at the end of the day, it's not hitting the algorithm.
I will say, on average, most of the time, comparatively, a video that you're going to put a lot of effort into is not going to do as well as a video like that you do off the cuff. Like a lot of my videos that have gone viral were just comedic rants where I'm like kicking down the door to a bathroom and then standing in front of the mirror, and people just like that energy. And then it's like, I only took 2 minutes to make that, but I got like my nice camera out to shoot a dramatic looking movie scene, and that only ended up with like 2,000 likes after 3 days. But it's weird. Like, it's very hit or miss sometimes.
You know, and the unfortunate part for you when it comes to like brand collaborations from my world is the spirits industry looks at TikTok as very dangerous. You know, it does not, you know, there's been a lot of companies that have made sure that their brands are not on TikTok because it skews so young.
Absolutely.
But not on Instagram. You've also got a really strong Instagram following.
Absolutely. This is actually another reason I'm really excited to be here, because with just my recent success, like I only started seeing the success that I had been shooting for 7 years within the past 2 years. Mm-hmm. And when I finally started collaborating with companies, what I kept asking people was, hey, something I'm really interested in advertising, because it's a goal of mine one day to when I'm successful to come up with my own, is advertising for bourbon or something. And every time it's like I'm shooting blanks. People are like, we don't have connections, or yeah, good luck with that. And I'm just like, yeah, but definitely understandable, because like the target audience, like with what I was used to, it's definitely been an adjustment for sure. Like Vine, okay. And for all the younger listeners out there, I apologize, but you ask what you could have gotten away with back in the day. There were porn stars posting porn. Like they were full on naked on Vine. Like pretty much anything went on Vine. And that slowly started to phase out with like updating their community guidelines and all that stuff. But the target audience with Vine was pretty much like 16 to... I don't know that one. Sorry, Alexa. It was pretty much like 16 to pretty much however old. And there was a lot of target audience that was like in their 20s. But with TikTok, there is a lot of children. And which is why I've made slight adjustments throughout my social media career, because like my comedic idols, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Mel Brooks, not exactly the cleanest folks. So anytime I have an idea where I'm like, oh, right, children. But I've even cut back like on how much profanity I used to use. And it's definitely been an adjustment. But alcohol I will say I have been guilty of getting a couple of videos taken down because they've had like a wine bottle or a beer bottle or like a drink in frame. But it's something
TikTok will take them down if you have alcohol in there.
Well, they used to. I haven't really had that problem in the past year. But definitely could see the difficulty of advertising it on TikTok for sure.
Now, my on the podcast I'm on, Bourbon Pursuit, my partner Kenny put up a video that went viral, and he kind of created Bourbon TikTok. So Bourbon TikTok's a thing.
Exactly. There's pretty much a fan base for everything out there. Like I have been on TikTok till like 2 a.m. and I have found welding TikTok. That's one of my favorite places to be. It's like, and if there's welding TikTok, there's got to be other adult interests out there.
Make sure you protect your eyes when you're watching welding TikTok.
Oh yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into the bourbon tasting here. We're going to start with success, because that's essentially what we've been talking about here. Now, this is a bruiser from a proof perspective. You know, it's 127.5 proof. But this is a 13-year-old Kentucky bourbon that is going to definitely, get you excited. And I'll tell you, I get a lot of guests on the show that are interested in starting a bourbon down the road or something like that. I think you might be the first one who is like, I'd like to have a bourbon like advertised, with me on my Instagram. And I think there's a lot of brands who are actually interested in that. But everybody wants to see, like, I think everybody wants to have like unique content. So as you are tasting these, if you have a personality that comes to mind, bring it. Like, consider this an audition for, like, developing a bourbon personality, for your new campaign.
Absolutely.
So,
like, the difference I would say between me and a lot of other people, for sure. A lot of people, if you ask them, what would they want if they got rich and famous? And they're like, oh, well, I'd get a couple big houses and like a lot of fast cars and a yacht or something. Me, I like it simple. House on the East Coast with a nice car. House not too nice, like a Mustang. House on the West Coast for work on the film industry with a nice car, like a Mustang. And spend my time focusing on learning a fine craft, like the world of bourbon.
Right on.
All right.
So bourbon is made from predominantly corn, and it goes into the barrel. It clears the water from your tap, and so bourbon is a type of whiskey. And the other types of whiskey, like Scotch and Canadian whiskey and Irish whiskey, they're going into used barrels. And so I like to assess the color, and we're looking at a 13-year-old bourbon. There's not a lot of 13-year-old bourbons on the market these days. 13 years old. And so you look at this, and look at that color. I mean, that is straight up amber to like a brown color. Swirled around a little bit and just kind of look at those legs. And to me, this is a beautiful looking, appearance-wise. There's some hues there, like purple hues on the sides.
The clarity is really impressive on this.
It's just beautiful. And so swirled around a little bit, bring it to your nose, and then when you smell bourbon, smell it with your mouth open. That opens up your olfactory and relaxes it a little bit and allows you to smell more than just the alcohol fumes.
Definitely. So it's a lot like wine tasting.
Yeah, it is a lot like wine, but with wine, wine is obviously is not as high in alcohol. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like my dad and I actually made wine for the past 5 years. So there's
awesome.
Definitely a lot that goes into the like the fermentation process, and then the filtering into the tanks, and then you got to filter it again to get all the sediment out. Definitely seems like a lot easier filtration process on the bourbon end of that for sure.
Well, they've got their steps, but it when they first start, there's a lot of char in there, and they'll stain that out. But that char can actually taste pretty good in barbecue.
Oh yeah.
So now after we kind of nosed it, we put it on the palate and see what we think.
All right. Whoa. Okay. Did somebody turn like pure electricity into a drink? Because I'm pretty sure I just tasted that. Like, wow. But like, I bet you don't get a lot of people on this show who don't flinch when they taste their bourbon for sure. I saw that Charles Woodson clip. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. You caught him tasting that 1945 one that was like really god awful.
Oh, woo! Oh God.
But this is here. I mean, this thing, I started you off right, 127 proof, and it is bringing the heat, but you can still get the flavor. I'm going to add some water though.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to add a little water.
I was told to. My dad recommended when I told him I was coming on the show, he's like, all right, now what you're going to do if you're going to be tasting is definitely like add a little water in there. Otherwise your taste buds are going to be fried before you even get to the rest of them. For sure.
And I did start you with the heavy heater.
Oh yeah.
I guess that was kind of cruel of me. I don't know why. I think I was just so excited to taste it again.
You're perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine. I'm feeling all warm and toasty now.
So one of the things that I have noticed with people with like extremely large social media followings is that followers can sometimes like turn against you, and like you get in the comments and like say, I want this, I want that, and I mean, how do you deal with that like constant pulling on you from followers and people who want to see something else out of you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been in this game for 7 years now, and that's something I keep having to remind all my friends who are fairly new to this. Like just recently, we had a meetup where we all got COVID tested and ourselves to the same house to quarantine together to make content for 2 weeks, which is the recommended quarantine period in Orlando. and we're like a bunch of cosplayers, and there were some people that were coming out in the comments, but I'm reminding everybody, hey, you're doing the best you can. You put disclaimers out there. Clearly there were going to be people who were upset, but a lot of times that I've learned, and this definitely going the extra mile more than other people, but you look into it. If you go to the hate comments, most of the time you click on their profile, TikTok tells you if they follow you. Most of the time they don't. You know, and there are people who don't even have a picture of themselves as a profile picture. It's like some picture from Fortnite or something, and they've only got like 4 followers. And those are the haters. Now, I will say there are the mild versions or the nicer versions of those where you see, like, for example, what really blew was one of my benchmark blow up points on social media was when I started doing Eddie Murphy, and people come to know it as the Mushu voice, because, you know, how can you convey your talents so that kids can understand? It's like, well, you know, I like doing an Eddie Murphy impression. Now, what do kids know Eddie Murphy as? A Mushu. And people, like, I've done a lot of Mushu videos, but I try not to run it into the ground so that I can keep doing it later on, because, like, I saw in an interview with Sammy Hagar that said it best. Sammy said he wanted to be on top, and he wanted to start filling out bigger stadiums. And his agent said, no, you don't. And here's why: because you're at number 5 right now, and that is the sweet spot. You don't want to be at number 1. You know why? Because it's going to be great. It's going to be big, but then you're going to get it, and people are going to get sick of you. Now, what you want to do is remember, like, just fly in that sweet spot, which is what I try to do. So I do a bunch of stuff where people are like, bring Mushu back. I'm like, I will, but I'm not going to do him repeatedly, because then people will be like, that's all he does is Mushu or the other voices. So I try to space it out. But at the end of the day, long story short, what you just got to remember is there's only a few of those people every now and then. And they're just like speed bumps or potholes in the road. But if you just remember that it's like running a marathon. You hit a pothole when you're running a marathon, it's going to happen. But if you got a bunch of people who are cheering you on the side the whole time, all the way to the end, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Right on, man. That's some great advice. You know, in whiskey, there is kind of like a growing trend of, you know, in influencers, and it's a little different. You know, sometimes it's just, you know, somebody taking a picture next to a bottle. Sometimes it's like breaking out, you know, the tastings of it. But it's like my genre, you know, and I'm an author, and I got on all this stuff to basically promote my books and my events. And you know, so I was really late to the game on social media. And so to get on there and like see what people have built and everything, I really do. I respect it, but the whiskey community does not always respect it, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of
because they're like, no, like, this is not doing the whiskey justice.
It's just like you're holding a bottle and not really, you know,
exactly
talking about it or something.
It's like a commercial. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the rule with commercials with alcohol is like you can show off the product, but people like are not allowed to consume it in frame.
You know, you're talking about like on TV and stuff?
Yes.
You know, I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure on that one. There's a lot of guidelines that they have. I don't think there's an actual law. I think it might range from network to network, but there's been a lot of weird like guidelines over the years. Like they had one where women couldn't hold a bottle for
oh god, that's terrible.
Time. Yeah, I mean, it was that got pulled off in like 1987. So
now I will tell you this: I have had from being in quarantine for almost a year now. One thing that I have decided to open my mind to is YouTube and a bunch of other creators on YouTube to get ideas so that I could do it myself. And I thought, hey, what's something I could do? And if I have an idea for a show that I want to tell you, would you recommend me talking about it on here or in private?
No, whatever you want to do. Yeah, I mean, as long as you're comfortable letting the world know, because I do YouTube, and you'll get some YouTuber love out there.
Absolutely. Okay, so one of the ideas in the works that I want to do. Have you ever seen a show called Hot Ones?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I liked his concept. It's like an interview, but it takes the weight off the interview kind of by just doing something while being interviewed. And I really liked that concept. Now, one thing that like you said, the whiskey world doesn't really get as much attention as a lot of people would like it on social media. I figure why not combine worlds like this? Now, pretty much like what we're doing right now, what could be a great promo for a bunch of companies, big and small. If they have any small batches or any local breweries, any big breweries, not breweries, distilleries, my bad. Mm-hmm. That would like to show off their products, because I know a lot of them are out there. Like, for example, you said you sent me something from Nevada. I didn't even know that there was any distilleries in Nevada.
Actually, we will taste that one now. I just poured mine. If you want to go ahead and pour yours, it's Frey Ranch.
Frey Ranch, absolutely. Now, what I had in mind was like five or six shots, 5 or 6 different types of whiskeys, 5 or 6 questions, and call it Wild on Whiskey. You have people come in like celebrities, influencers, actors, personalities, and just come in, and whether they're bourbon aficionados or people who would be open to trying them, just get their opinions on them, and really just modernize the approach to advertising it, because especially with the younger generation, it's like, now I do not encourage underage drinking, but as people get older, they're especially Gen Z, they're like, I don't even know what to try. But it's like, hey, here's something you could open your mind to, and hearing it from somebody who you could probably relate to, you could definitely trust.
Yeah, and that's one thing like YouTube is like brought for me, is like I've gotten a lot of followers, from who are younger, and Hot Ones comes up a lot with me, because I do bring in people from all walks of life, whether it's Ludacris or Charles Woodson or yourself, and I have a kind of a long form background of interviewing style, and I like what whiskey brings out of people, for a conversation, and like it loosens people up, So I
Absolutely.
I think that's great.
I think it's great. Like, I will definitely say this: whiskey, or having love for the spirit world is spirit world. I immediately thought of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I will say this: what people will talk about as their interests in public or everyday conversation says one thing about them, but I will say this: what people choose to as their drink really says a lot about them. But
absolutely.
It's like when you're watching the movies and the popular guy hangs out with the goth chick who turns out to eventually become the love interest, and realize, personality over, superficialness, prevails. But it's like that moment in the movie where she's like, yeah, like I really love Motley Crue. And he's like, Motley Crue? You like Motley Crue? Like, oh my God. Like, I never would have guessed that about you. And it's like, yeah, well, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. That to me is what I love about the bourbon world, because you never know for sure.
Yeah, bourbon transcends politics and religious beliefs, and there are some religions that don't allow drinking, but
oh yeah, absolutely. I believe the Mormons.
Yeah, Mormons are like the only religion that will actually, like, their followers will typically completely stay away from it. Islam, Baptist, once they're away from their flock, they will all drink. But not Mormons.
Yeah.
Not Mormons.
I grew up going to a United Methodist church, and we always passed the Baptist church on the way. And, like something we'd always joke about when we get back, like when we start heading home, we'd hit the church traffic, which is when the police officers come out and start directing traffic, and then you're like, they must not be done with their first service yet. Whole lot more praying.
They do some praying.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
don't we all, though?
Now you're going into Frey Ranch. So they grow all their own grains on their farm.
Heck yeah. Where did you say they were the ones from Nevada?
They're in Nevada. This is 126 proof. So I'm lighting you up.
Are you sure it's 126 proof? The bottle says 90.
Oh, you know what? I'm tasting a different bottle than you.
Oh, dang! Why can't you share that through the screen?
Oops.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I'm tasting the 126 proof one, and you got the 90 proofer.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, that still tastes pretty good. This is very nice. It's like.
So you mentioned in our panel and a little bit here that you also work in film. What do you do in the film side? I know you're working your way to be in front of the camera, but you're behind the camera as well.
Absolutely. I actually like I said, I got my degree in film, and I started to go to work to a small film company here in North Georgia, and started out as like PA / grip, carrying equipment, running errands, and people. Like there were a couple of casting agents on set for one of these movies we were shooting, and they're like, "Who's your agent?" And I'm like, "I don't have an agent." And they're like, "You got too much talent and personality to be behind the camera." And so that's when I started getting into acting. I'm actually upcoming projects that you will be seeing me in this year is a film called The Next 24.
Okay.
Which is a film about sex trafficking. And how it's a problem that's not entirely talked about too much. Like I think the only movie, like big movie that I've seen that talks about the problem is Taken with Liam Neeson for sure. But there's that, and I actually play a bad guy in the film, so really looking forward to everybody seeing that. Not sure if they're ready to see Ethan Trace not be Ethan Trace for once. And also, this upcoming Christmas, you will be seeing me in another film called Christmas at the Grey Horse Inn, which will also be in theaters and be able to view for your holiday pleasure. But I also, my biggest passion for sure is to one day aspire to be a director. But my biggest passion is definitely screenwriting for sure.
Awesome. Do you have to tap into a different part of the Ethan Trace brain from to do these things, or is it the same Ethan Trace we see on TikTok?
Well, yes and no. I feel like my personality really shows on TikTok, but like I said earlier, there's a lot of kids on the app, and a lot of things that I keep telling people with TikTok, especially if that's where you're starting out on getting your following, is the Is it acronym when each letter in the word stands for something?
Yeah, acronym. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the acronym KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. So like, the simpler and the more visually appealing it is, the better. But like I try to show it a little bit in some of my videos. Like one of the things I like to share for videos that actually do pretty well sometimes are, for example, animated films. It's like talk about the voice actors, like voice actors you might not have known. For example, Mulan. Mulan was voiced by Ming-Na Wen, who plays Chun-Li in Street Fighter, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but the new character in Mandalorian, which is going to be in the Book of Boba Fett as well. And she still looks amazing, by the way. She's like 60 something, and she still looks like she's 40. Or, for example, Li Shang's father was the voice of Mr. The voice of Li Shang's father was Mr. Taikaki from Die Hard. The Emperor was Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid. The consul, the guy with the clipboard, was the actor who played Lo Pan in Big Trouble in Little China. And people, not a lot of people look into this kind of information, and so when you simplify it for them like that and share like something in a field that you love, they're like, "Oh my god, I didn't know that! Like that's the same guy." And it's like something that I enjoy doing. But I definitely, when I'm by myself off camera, I do not show really a lot of who I am on social media because, like, one, you got to keep it a little bit of a mystery. But two, like, there is so much more going on up in my head than I let on. Especially with, like, I have written an entire first season of a TV series that I'm hoping to pitch someday. But what's actually upcoming, hopefully within this year, it's been delayed because of COVID. But script that I wrote is going to be made into a feature film. Awesome. And so we're working on that. The project is called Edouard Ridge, and it's a horror thriller type movie. And I'm really excited to share that with everybody. Thank you. But like those are the type of serious things that I do in my free time. Like I really enjoy writing. It's like once you get into writing and you sit yourself in front of the computer, you just let the creative side of your brain take over. And that, and quite frankly, that is a side of my brain that I really wish I could get to exercise more often. But I feel I'm often restricted sometimes with, like, say, community guidelines or just living in the real world where you can't necessarily do everything that you want to do, but on paper you can be anything pretty much.
Yeah, I love that. And we're going to go to the 4-Gate Rye now, the split stave finished in American White Oak and charred cask.
Now, just to make sure we're on the same bottle this time. Yeah. This is 112 proof?
112 proof, that's right.
Excellent. All right. And again, if you'd like to send these companies my way in my DMs afterwards, I would love that because this bar is incredible.
You'll be getting some additional gifts and such from brands.
Absolutely. These are incredible. Shout out to all these companies. So far, we've tasted the White Dog Success, Frey Ranch, and 4-Gate. And then after that, we have the Michter's small batch and then the Michter's single barrel. Really excited about that single barrel, by the way. I've only ever had one single barrel in my life, and that was the Jack Daniel's single barrel. Way smaller bottle, by the way. So
stepping on up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're going to go, after this one, we're going to go straight into the Michter's 10-year-old, and the Michter's small batch will be for you for another time. The reason why I'm out of it, and although I have a lot of bottles in my office, we apparently gave away my last bottle of the Michter's, the regular Michter's bourbon. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. My apologies on that.
No, that's what they're here for.
All right. Well,
this is smelling really good to me.
This really does smell good. All right. 4-Gate. Now, where's the 4-Gate company located?
4-Gate is in Louisville, Kentucky. They are basically a blending house or someone who acquires stocks from distillers and then puts them in a barrel. They do a lot of finishing. So it's actually a colleague, a whiskey writing colleague, started this brand, and they're all right.
Absolutely, all right.
They actually won my best barrel finish of 2020.
Really? So all right, down the hatch. Cheers, my friend. Ooh,
oh, that is good.
Oh God, that's smooth. See, this is a side that people don't really get to see on TikTok, I'm just like this dude likes drinking bourbon. Like, who is this guy? Like, normally all they see is the Jim Carrey side, and it's like oh yes, quite. They're like, who is this guy? Oh my goodness. Nah, definitely not like the country club scene in Trading Places, but definitely quite the connoisseur for sure. This is a really great blend.
All right, absolutely. So you're a Jim Carrey guy. Where do you sit with Ace Ventura?
Ace Ventura, I will say, my personal favorite Jim Carrey movies are the top 5 or top 3 does not include Ace Ventura, but it is definitely Jim Carrey at his Jim Carreyest for sure.
Alrighty then.
Roger Protector did not commit suicide. He was murdered. My favorite scene, I will say, that definitely made me piss myself. The first time I ever watched it was the sliding glass door scene. That's a classic. I will say my favorite Jim Carrey movies are probably number 1, Bruce Almighty, because I feel that one teeters the line of good down to earth acting, and then just acting that only Jim Carrey could pull off. Mm-hmm. Then you got Liar Liar.
Yeah.
Yes. And Truman Show. And The Grinch. The Grinch. Oh my goodness. There are some stories behind The Grinch. Jim Carrey actually almost lost his mind on set of The Grinch because it would take 8 hours to take the prosthetics on and off of his face. He actually brought in a military therapist who would talk to Marines with PTSD to talk him through getting the prosthetics on and off his face. But like I said, nobody else comes to mind for the roles that he's played that could replace him for sure.
Yeah, he's got and then what was the movie that was like serious and you could see like his serious side? Something Sunshine. I want to see.
Oh crap! Hold on.
There's like the picture of the poster is like his head is like by a flower pot. I can't think of it, but he was brilliant in that. Hey, I came real prepared there. What's that?
Absolutely. Was it recent?
Oh, like 15 years. Hold on. Let me do some Googling.
Let me see. A flower pot, you said. Eternal Sunshine.
That's it. Eternal Sunshine.
I haven't seen that one. I will have to put it on my watch list.
Dude, that's like a brilliant movie. That's like I mean, this is a weird comparison, but you know, it's kind of it's serious. It's like Godfather serious. You know.
Really?
And he's like he's struggling, and you can see his like, you know, his dramatic actor status in there. So,
and that's definitely one thing I wanted to. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. That's definitely one thing, like I said, that I wanted to show, not just through my social media, but through acting as well, which is why I do not do the same thing over and over again, because I do not want to be pigeonholed and typecasted.
Right.
Like, while I am the Jim Carrey guy of TikTok, or one of them, there's actually a few of us, I do not want to be typecasted as just that guy. It's like, hey, you know, because one of the things that fascinates me the most is playing bad guy roles. Like, my favorite character to this day, like, you asked me what the best bad guy performance I've ever seen, and I will continue. I always rewatch this movie to get my motivation going again. Is Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight. Absolutely flawless performance.
I am 1,000% with you on that one. That was the best, and you know, it's sad. You know, Joaquin Phoenix won he won an Oscar.
I just recently watched that one for the first time.
And it was.
I didn't watch it.
It was good, but it wasn't.
I will say this: it was good if you watched it from an acting standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But I myself could not see it as part of the DC universe as a Joker movie. But his acting was phenomenal in that. And I'm only so harsh a critic because the Joker is one of my favorite characters, and it is a role that I myself hope to do my own rendition of one day on the big screen. Like it's only because I hold that role to such a high standard. Like we don't talk about the other. Yeah, we don't talk about Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah. Hey, previously on the show we had Mitch Gerrans, who's the artist for Batman and the graphic side and comic book side, and we had a conversation about like what bad guy would be a bourbon drinker, and the Joker came up. So maybe the bourbon can help you get to the Joker status.
So yeah. I myself really think the God, who is it? Two-Face or Two-Face or the Riddler would definitely be a bourbon drinkers for sure.
The Riddler annoys me.
See, okay, now here's the thing. If you're going to the one thing that I will say, as much as I loved, another Jim Carrey. I loved Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, where he played the Riddler. But the Riddler in the comics is actually way, way, way more dialed down. He's actually like more calm and collected, and to show his intelligence. Like I actually got really excited. Remember before The Dark Knight Rises came out, the rumor was that one of the rumors for the villains was that Neil Patrick Harris was going to play the Riddler. Like I was actually looking forward to that. Yeah, he's a great actor. Like I would absolutely love to work with him someday.
So who's your favorite Batman from an acting perspective?
Okay, I'm gonna have to divide that up into two categories. I will say, from a Bruce Wayne, the best Bruce Wayne I have seen was probably Michael Keaton.
Oh.
But yes, classic. But we're talking Batman. I know a lot of Batman comic fanatics are probably going to differ in opinion, but got to go with Christian Bale. I got to go with Christian Bale on that one. He was such a badass, and like that was the one thing that I loved that they showed. Now, granted, the 80s, people weren't exactly looking at that high of a budget back then. A fun fact, actually, which illustrates my point for why they probably didn't even go that far, why they were just looking to make it like a fun comic-y movie, which perfect Jack Nicholson Joker. But they weren't thinking about like Ra's al Ghul in the League of Assassins back then. Fun fact, they actually asked originally before Jack Nicholson, they asked John Lithgow to play the Joker. And so basically Tim Burton actually met up with John Lithgow for lunch to talk about it. And by the end of the lunch, John Lithgow was like, seriously, who would come see a movie about Batman? Wow. And would probably later live to eat his words.
He just kind of like the last thing I can think him about was Dexter, where he was like he was like a mentor for a serial killer. Like he's a great actor.
Oh, absolutely. The one thing I will say about John Lithgow that I will say this. John Lithgow either plays a total wimp or a total crazy awesome bad guy. Like if you because I'm known John Lithgow for roles like first thing I ever saw John Lithgow in was the voice of Lord Farquaad in Shrek. Rock as fast as you can. I'm the gingerbread man. But later went on to see that he was like the dad of Barney Stinson in How I Met Your Mother. And then he was also contrary to that, he was the pastor in Footloose.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it because my dad recommended it to me. I never heard of the movie and I watched it and was like, oh my God, why did he not win an Oscar for this? Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone. He plays a killer bad guy. And I'm just like, did he just shoot that dude in the face? Like John Lithgow just did. Right on.
Yeah, he's one of those interesting characters. You brought up Footloose. I keep going back to this. Like, here we are in 2021, and it's hard to imagine this, but dancing was very much against the law in some areas. And now we still live in a world where you live in Georgia, right? You're in Georgia?
Yeah, I live in Georgia.
Okay, so Georgia still has dry counties. Still has dry counties.
Yeah,
it's illegal to drink to buy alcohol in some parts of Georgia. I mean, what the heck is wrong?
I don't know. I will say this. No, okay. Can I just, make a public statement on this podcast right now? On behalf of myself and the majority of people in Georgia, as much as has been in the eyes of the entire country lately, politically, we are not all like that. I promise you. A lot of us in Georgia are great, loving people, and we do not all say y'all and grits. Like, but I will say this. I tell everybody, you go down below the Piedmont line, which is like the southern half of the state. Like once you get below the perimeter of Atlanta, and it's just a straight shot down I-75 through flat country. That interstate is more undecided than a broke man going into a casino, because it's like on one half you're like, oh my god, and then on the other one you're like, maybe I shouldn't. It's like all the way to Florida. It's half adult superstores / strip club billboards, and then the other half is repent or burn signs. And I always make myself laugh because I'm like, I wonder which one came first. Because if you're like, you're like, hey, adult superstores, and then people are like, oh, well, this will not do in my Christian county, and they shall say, repent for your sins or burn. Or my favorite idea that I like to hypothesize is that the repent or burn signs came first, and then the strip club and adult superstore people were like, hold my beer.
or what if the pastors and the deacons have shares in the porn hubs and the strip clubs? Because that feeds into that. You get the trucker coming out of there feeling all guilty, and then they come in to get the Lord and the sins washed away.
Yeah, that literally makes me think of a scene from the Simpsons movie where like they put the dome on the city, and then it shows the bar and the church next door, and everybody comes out of the bar and the church. Like everybody who goes out of the bar goes into the church, and everybody who goes out of the church goes into the bar. Like I could definitely see that.
That is life, and it's been proven time again. People who are for the dry counties are the people in the other counties, and they tend to be connected to churches, and they have bootlegging schemes where they're making money off of the other county. So it's all
and again, I just want to put a disclaimer out there, reminder. I am a comedian. I do not I do not hate on people's religious beliefs. I am I'm just an entertainer. I grew up a good Christian boy myself.
As we go to the Michter's 10-year-old single barrel.
Oh yes, I am. This is done. Dun, 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 dun. All the SpongeBob fans will get that out there. I have been looking forward to this. This has been okay. So for those of you who do not know the behind the scenes of how this show goes, Fred has the bourbon shipped out to our houses days before the podcast, and so I unboxed it and put it on the shelf. This thing has been staring at me for a week. And so I'm like, God, I cannot wait to try this. And now the moment has come. We are here, and I cannot wait to try this. So
that's a nice little corn pop you got there.
Oh, I try.
You got some skills.
Not my first time. All right. Fred, my friend, this is the Michter's Single Barrel 10-year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have been looking forward to this all week.
Cheers.
So Fred, mind if I put a little spin on this interview? Where I ask you a question.
Oh, please.
You asked, I do behind the scenes, and I told you that I'm a writer.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into writing?
So I was real big into an organization called FFA, often known as Future Farmers of America. We were winning.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
We were winning all these pig shows, across the state in Oklahoma, and my FFA teacher pulled me aside and said, "Hey, we're winning all this stuff, and we're not getting any attention for it." And this is in the '90s, before social media and all that, and the idea of attention or getting people to understand what you're doing went through the county newspaper. So I started writing up these news articles on like an old computer, like the thing is that big and had like maybe 56 kilobyte of memory in it. And I'm
God,
it's so tiny. And I'd print it on like this inkjet, or not an inkjet, like a bubble jet printer. You go, and then I'd get it and peel it off and peel off the paper. And then I would fax it in. And for those who don't know, a fax machine is something that you would put paper in it, dial a number, and then paper would come out to that other number. And I would fax it to this newspaper called the Oklahoma County newspaper. And when I saw my name and I saw my story in there for the first time, I was like, done. I am going to be a writer. I changed my entire trajectory for a career from being a veterinarian to being a writer. And
veterinarian.
I was going to be a vet. And then I started writing, and boom, that's kind of how it all took off. So
maybe I should have you on my show when I launch it. Pick your brain a little more.
That'd be fun.
All right. Now, on to the moment we've all been waiting for, the Michter's 10-year single barrel. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Sweet Mary, Mother of God. Holy crap, that is good. Wow.
It is good.
Like, I feel like, you know that, and if anybody who's listening, you're probably catching up on my pattern. I reference movies a lot. You know that scene in the Blues Brothers where they're in the church and the light just comes through the window onto John Belushi?
Yes.
Yeah, that's literally what I just felt on my taste buds. Have you seen the light?
The Lord is with you here.
Yeah. Oh, you channeled little Arsenio Hall there for a second. Coming to America.
Oh,
by the way, yeah, Coming to America too.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Dude, they're bringing back all the original characters, and I'm so excited. Especially, hey, man, just give a hand for the man. Sexual chocolate. Don't forget the Lord has blessed all his praise upon today.
The Lord.
I swear, like, I just rewatched that movie like a couple months ago. Okay, you want to talk about, I will tell you this. While we're on the podcast, I think you asked me a while ago, or maybe it wasn't you, maybe it was somebody else, but how many videos have I had removed?
Yeah, I just asked. Well, I didn't ask you that per se, but I kind of brought up you have videos removed.
I've had videos removed, and I will tell you the one that I am the most bitter about for being removed, because it was filmed so well, and again, like tooting my horn at impressions, but I am a sucker for recreating movie scenes. So we went to you talk about bourbon and the wonderful world of it. This was when we were up in Gatlinburg at the Old Smoky Distillery.
Oh yeah, I know those. I filmed with moonshiners there. Great folks.
I am.
Oh no,
definitely...
wait, not Old Smoky. It was the other one, Sugarland. That's where I filmed. Never mind.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm well, okay, so we went out after this to the place where you on the downtown strip of Gatlinburg in the mountains where you can taste test.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Again, more pushing my passion to I want to do something with this. So let's do it. Now, we were staying at an Airbnb with a couple of our friends. One of my other influencer friends, Primal Darkness, who has about 4 million followers on TikTok, and his wife and my girlfriend and I were up there staying with them on like the top floor of this 9-story like condo complex. So I went out on the balcony, and my friend Cliff, Primal Darkness, went all the way downstairs across. Okay, so it's one of those complexes where it's like there's a lobby in the middle, and then it splits off like a right angle. There's condos over here and condos over here. He ran to the other side and hopped over somebody's terrace guardrail onto the first floor so we could shoot this. And it was literally recreating the scene where they landed in the condo in Coming to America, where they landed in the ghetto neighborhood. And Eddie Murphy goes out onto the balcony. He's like, "Good morning, my neighbors. Hey, fuck you. Yes. Fuck you too." Literally posted that before we left for home. And then I get home, and the video was 70,000 likes. But my audio got removed because they thought it was like violating community guidelines. I'm like, no, this was a perfect scene recreation. And a lot of people appreciated this. That is the video, I will say, to this day, I'm the most bitter about getting removed.
I'm sorry, man.
It's all good. I hear YouTube's a lot more friendlier with that.
Well, the funny thing about YouTube is that, like, well, it may be friendly for things like that. For alcohol, it's not so friendly. So it's like
I've heard.
Yeah, so it's against like policy to put links into your description or something that links back to like buy something, and it's only a matter of time before YouTube demonetizes alcohol, which
I will say this: TikTok is kind of undergoing something like that right now, and talking about especially during the pandemic, a lot of people have resorted to this because there's no other way to support themselves, and I fully support people who have been doing it to support themselves. But one thing TikTok has kind of been ruthless with tearing people down for promoting is OnlyFans.
Oh, the sex site for
not entirely.
But
like
that's how it's known. Is like for like, hey,
you can post things to your comfort level. I myself have been getting ready to. I've been getting back in shape to try to post content for my OnlyFans. No nudity, just
There's no nudity on your end.
No, I do not. Yeah, no peen shall be seen, as I like to say. But I have friends who are sex workers and porn stars actually that I met through my friend Charlie Classic, who is one of the greatest humans you'll ever meet. Speaking of Nevada, Charlie's one of the nicest guys ever, and he's introduced me to a lot of his clients. He does like premium Snapchat stuff and photo shoots. Like risque and nudity photo shoots for porn stars and models, and they're some of the nicest people ever. Yeah, like absolutely. And it's
but
how people make
OnlyFans definitely has that vibe to it, and you get on there and there's some action going on. I have a
couple friends on there who have made up to 100K. And I will say, because my girlfriend has been, we've been trying to get her OnlyFans started back up again too. We both found out that once we moved into the house, once we bought a scale, we put on a little weight during quarantine, and we've been trying to lose it.
We've all done that, my friend. But you're what? You're like 28, 26?
I'm only 20. I just turned 26 in December.
Yeah. So it's easier for you to lose weight. Like you can go out and like stretch your leg a little bit and probably lose 5 pounds. I look at a donut and I put it straight to the ass, man. It's like
I actually have been sugar free for 4 years. I decided to give up sugar when I was working at Chick-fil-A. And if you want to get more technical, in the past year and a half, I've actually given up bread. And
bread is a killer, man. You eat bread.
Yeah, I didn't know. To quote Scott Pilgrim, bread makes you fat. Didn't know that. Now, I will say this. To continue on that, we all as content creators, and especially with a lot of people who have dove into the world of content creating during the pandemic to support themselves, because a lot of people have lost their jobs, which were considered everyday jobs, and people have been looking for ways to support themselves, especially women. Like there have been a lot of women removed from the workforce that have been having to provide for their families or themselves that have resorted to OnlyFans. There are a lot of people on OnlyFans who I'm friends with that have made very good money to support themselves.
Mm-hmm.
A few of my friends were living in either like double wide trailers or very small apartments that them and their significant others have bought houses and are living much very, very conservatively, bought a house and just are minimally looking to support themselves. And
Ethan, let me ask you this, because that is the word on the street. Is it offensive to consider OnlyFans to be kind of a sex-oriented, acquisition point?
Well, you're talking to somebody who grew up watching like stuff like Blazing Saddles and doesn't really get offended easily. But I will say this: I won't say I would get offended. I would just say be a little more open-minded when it comes to OnlyFans, because like I said, like there are people like and my friend Jennings Brower who is also an actor and a TikTok creator who has about 3 million followers. Jennings is a fitness guy. He posts like just his fitness photo shoots on there, which I'm planning to do. Maybe I would put stuff in my underwear on that, but I also have lady friends who I will say go down to details of maybe them shaving certain places for videos. No, I would never do that, or some of my friends I know would never do that, but mad respect, there's an audience out there for people who will watch it, and they're doing what they can to support themselves. I think this pandemic has brought out
I think it's really important too, Ethan, is to point out that they're doing it on their own accord, knowing it. No one is making them do that.
Exactly.
No one is getting a cut other than the technology provider who is doing it. I think that is where people kind of like, lose sight of some of this stuff. And we go, we talked a little bit about the dry counties and everything, but I think it's a real question. Should prostitution be legal?
I absolutely think it should, because here's why. Now, while a lot of people may frown on it, it's literally the exact same principles as marijuana. People are going to do it, and we've come to realize that it's not it. I myself, as a person who suffers from anxiety, I myself take a little bit of CBD or THC from time to time, because much like Robin Williams, God rest his soul, his mind raced at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and that is the stuff that I deal with on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And I need a little bit of anxiety relief every now and then, and I use it only medically. But people are going to do it anyway. Now, here's why I believe that prostitution, much like marijuana, should be legalized. And hey, and if you disagree with me, fellow listeners, that is okay. I'm clearly just stating my opinion here. Much like with my friends who are porn stars, the porn stars they get tested. They get tested every like 2 weeks or every month for STDs and all this stuff to make sure that they are healthy, so they don't pass anything on to fellow clientele, because like the porn industry is a job just like any other job, and as such, people treat it professionally. Now, with prostitution, with pimps out there, it's not regulated, and there are a lot of people in danger. If it's regulated, you can get like healthcare provided, you can get tested, and it can be properly taxed. It can be taxed to benefit the economy, because people are going to be doing it. But most importantly, women's safety is what we need to focus on. Making sure all of the women, the employees, are safe and they're tested and they're healthy, and they can be provided a great financial standing, because a lot of them just do it to provide for themselves or their families. Yeah,
I think the question of morality comes up every now and then. And if you pull the curtain back on all those who say like, "Oh, the Lord Jesus wouldn't want that,"
I will say this.
You find there's always a connection there. There's always like, like Jimmy Swaggart in the 80s or 90s. He was, he was.
All I think about when I hear Jimmy Swaggart is that, do you remember Church Lady from SNL?
Yeah, I do.
Danny Carvey. I did not. Okay, now this was one of those SNL skits where I watched where I didn't know who per se all the people were in the skit, because of the times where they reference a lot of political figures that are very current, but where they talked about Jimmy Swaggart, and it's like, oh, let my church down and let my family down, and then we also like sending us down like our trousers. But I will say this. For anybody, and I totally get the morality question. Like I said, I grew up a Christian boy. I went to church like every Sunday. I went to youth group every Wednesday. But, when I got to college, I realized the world was a lot bigger than, questioning the world by a book. And, my personal philosophy on Christianity is, your good's measured by how your fate is measured by how much good you put out into the world and how much positivity you spread. Because my personal belief, like, I left the church for personal reasons. Like, I saw a lot of people who were being hypocritical in that building every Sunday for what was being preached. But I will say this: for any personal beliefs you may have, here's the analogy I give, where it's like, they're like, I want to buy a yellow car. And the Christians, or people who, like to preach on moral higher ground, they're like, I think yellow cars are more immoral and they should be outlawed. It's like, hey, you know what?
Hallelujah.
You don't like yellow cars. That's fine. But I got news for you. People like them and they're gonna buy them. But it doesn't. Why does it affect you? Like that's how I see the world. Like, I like to see the world, on a much simpler platform, just for the simple sake of, I got a lot more on my plate. If other people are just being nice to one another, if they're just living their life and being happy and being safe, then I ain't got a problem with it.
Yeah, man. I think it's
and I feel we need that. We're this country, like,
I think what happened to, religion has always been no matter what faith it is, it's always a love and then don't do that.
Exactly.
That is what it's always been. And I will
say this, as somebody who actually pour myself a second glass of this. Now I will say this. Cheers, my friend. Now, I will say this for anybody out there listening, as somebody who personally, at one point in his life, considered becoming a youth pastor and read the Bible backwards to forwards. All the people out there who try to preach Bible verses and stuff on at people just because they disagree with their lifestyle, you clearly have not read the other parts of the Bible, because I can literally give you a list of Bible verses that cancel out everything that people who try to use religion as an excuse to be hateful towards other people.
And thus, really, Ethan, it's all about interpretation. And like if we take the good, if we take the love and the good out of faith and religion, you know, I think what tends to happen is people always focus also, you know, in addition to, like, listen, the religious side brings a lot of judgmental ways. There's also this perspective of a lot of good going on, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, you take a look at, like, hungry centers, you know, that it's largely churches running that.
Absolutely.
Sisters for the Poor, for example. So, I mean,
absolutely. I myself did a lot of mission trips and worked at the like soup kitchens. And my favorite mission trip that I will never forget was we built the houses for the water pumps for foster children.
Wow.
It was definitely an enlightening experience. We got to build the water pump houses, and we got to play with the children. Like, we got to throw the football, play throw frisbee, play hide and seek, tag. It was really one of my favorite experiences in life that I would never trade anything for.
Well, if we've learned anything today, folks, about Ethan Trace, not only is he a rising star in the actor community, and not only is he like a TikTok star right now, but you got to see inside, like, you know, the individual and the things to come. And, you know, Ethan, I just want to thank you so much for hopping on and drinking some whiskey with me, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to doing it again.
I know we got deep here toward the end, but that's what happens when people have a good drink. And sometimes you solve some problems together. And I don't know if we solved any problems, but we definitely talked about some important issues. And I do want to ask you, what was your favorite today in the tasting? I think I know, but I want to hear you say it.
Well, Fred, my favorite today, I think, definitely has to go to a tie between the Michter's 10-year single barrel and the White Dog Success, aged 10 years, 127 and a half proof. Definitely some favorites of mine. I'm definitely going to enjoy the rest of these that you sent me. And I'm looking forward to working with you again, and especially to everybody out in the liquor world and the bourbon world. Really looking forward to working with some of you guys in the future. And just a reminder, social media, while it may be intimidating or hard to figure out at times, you have people out there who are looking for opportunities like this and would love to work with you. And we have our own ways of doing it in today's times, and we are more than happy to lend our hands out to you.
Absolutely. Well, Ethan, thank you so much for joining. Not that anyone needs to look very far to find you, but how can they find you on the socials?
Well, hey, like I said, my name is Ethan Trace. You can find me at Ethan Trace on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube. And like I said, I am also an actor, so you can look forward to me in a couple of productions that are coming up this year. Like I said, the next 24 will be released this year, and Christmas at the Great Horse Inn will also be released this year at Christmas time. And keep an eye out for my movie in the future that I wrote myself. It is called Etowah Ridge. It is a horror thriller movie, and I'm looking forward to you guys seeing about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And here we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes, and it feels like we just got on together. So,
absolutely, Fred. I look forward to talking with you more after this, especially. And cheers to everybody out there.
Cheers.
I hope you guys stay safe, keep wearing your masks, and we will make it through this pandemic together.
By God. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother.